£3,000 I have on my left now. 3,200 on my right. 3,500 on my left. And say 35. Just try. £300,000.
This is the story of a man at the top of his game, the world's most celebrated auctioneer.
At £55,000 anymore.
Seymour is unique.
190 in the room.
He's almost too good to be true.
In the auction world, where success is measured in millions made in seconds,
82 million. Sold. 4 million. Sold. Sold.
he's a swaggering salesroom superstar.
Would you like to bid, madam? Yes. £48,000.
He is a performance junkie.
Make up your mind. Do it fast, quick.
Now he's bought an ancient auction house and put his name above the door. He's going head-to-head with Sotheby's and Christie's, doing it his way in the most lucrative, risky market of all.
It is not that Tom is just destroying a multi-million-dollar work.
Art so new, it's called wet art.
It's phenomenal. Let's give him the big break.
He'll have to worship at the temple of art.
God is here, and I believe it.
And convince his super-rich friends to buy in the salesroom bear pit, vicious yet genteel, where art becomes cash.
Make it 600, 600,000.
It's not going to be easy.
Some people have completely written him off.
Can you get that out of my face?
Everybody is going to suffer. Suffer!
I'm going to fight up to the last drop of blood. Either I go under or else I'll somehow get out of it alive.
Simon de Pury is a 58-year-old Swiss baron. He's a multi-millionaire nomad who lives in five-star hotels across the globe. In London, it's Claridge's.
It's the only exercise I do.
He's devoted his life to the auction world. He's sold his own personal art collection to buy Phillips, one of the great and ancient houses like Sotheby's and Christie's. Now he's the owner and chief auctioneer, and it's his own money at stake. The normally staid auction world has changed little in 3 centuries.
Right here on the aisle at $1,000. Thank you, sir.
Under the Baron, things are different. He's doing it his way. He's turning the auction process into a party, an event, and specialising in the riskiest but most lucrative market of all, new works by living artists, so-called wet art. He's become a celebrity, and he's rattling the opposition. Over the last 5 years, total sales have risen by more than 200%, making Phillips the fastest growing house. Journalists who've known him for decades try to get to the man inside the image.
And if Dr. Freud were sitting here, he might say you were rebelling against Switzerland and success emphasizing parents. Anything else you might be rebelling against?
I have no idea. I feel that by far the most exciting thing has to be to create a totally new type of an auction company, to become the ultimate tastemaker. That's what excites me. That's what really stimulates me.
Can you put a knife between Seymour the auctioneer and Seymour the real human being? It's a tough question. Seymour is just so towering an actor that the actor may be the man. That's the mystery we've all got to unravel.
Today's programme of sales will be his biggest to date, an event that's cost millions to stage. De Pury is opening the show with Eternity, a recent work by Damien Hirst. He was the first to sell a Hirst at auction for $1 million, then still more for millions. Can he pump the room to set a new record?
Now we come to the work by Damien Hirst, Eternity. 1,900,000. £2 million now. £3 million at £3,800,000 now. £3,900,000. Any more, it's only £100,000 more. At £3,800,000. Yes, £4 million I have. 4,100,000, 4,200,000. Last chance, I will sell it in £4,200,000. Sold, thank you so much.
At a time of record-breaking sales, the aristocratic auctioneer has set another, the highest price ever achieved for a Hearst painting. This is a moment in art history.
3 or 4 years ago, I was offered to become chairman of one of the two big houses. But having tasted the excitement of what we do at Phillips, I couldn't imagine doing that anymore. 2 million. Sold. 4 million. Sold. Sold.
He's just brought the hammer down on £20 million worth of art. And there are 4 sales today. He'll have charged each buyer up to 25% and each seller up to half as much. Get it right and you drown in cash.
Well, I enjoy that very much, particularly when people are bidding so actively. I'm normally a very withdrawn, shy person, but once I'm on a podium, I change.
De Pury is not shy when it comes to the search for product. For him, it's a matter of survival. To keep Phillips de Pury on top, the Baron must spot the great artists of tomorrow, today. He finds their works when they're unknown, puts them in his spotlight, talks them up, and then cashes in at auction. Today, we've taken him to see London artist Boo Ritson, a portraitist he wants to take to auction first. Is she his next Damien Hirst?
I'm going to be painting him as a test pilot. The more aloof he is, the more nervous I'll be, and the more the paint will drip, and we may not get the work.
Is this what de Pury wants?
Let's try that one. Now.
That's lovely.
Go. That is lovely.
Great.
Slightly more tilt. It's brilliant. I think we've got it.
That looks like a good shot.
Oh my God.
It's you underneath, and then someone else on top.
Mm-hmm. It looks like a mixture of Boy George and I don't know what, but...
Difference in the paint.
Well, you know, maybe I prefer your portraits of other people than mine, but I don't know what it said about me. I just thought that it looked like a transvestite. I find it a kind of a stylistic gimmickry, and I'm not convinced yet that it is taking her art to an interesting next level.
De Pury needs a lot of artworks and travels the globe visiting lots of artists, new and not so new. 64-year-old Alexander Melamede has recently taken a new direction. Is this what de Pury wants?
I think I had seen all of your portraits, right, except your self-portrait. I had not seen yet.
Deus, Deus, Deus.
As a living God.
And you used a different technique, no?
Yeah, absolutely. More divine. I am God, actually. Actually, yes. It happened like 3 or 4 months ago.
3 or 4 months ago you realised you were God?
Right. I just found out how art works, you see? When you look at art, you see?
Yes.
You should do it this way. Okay, and you look at art, and the art wave goes to it, but it stops here. It's made of steel.
Right.
And it goes right to your heart.
God has a message for art.
This is the poster I'm planning on. Crush the skulls of art profiteers and art scoundrels.
Simone, crush the skulls of the art profiteers?
No, I obviously do not share this in any way. This is a totally new aspect of Melamede that I'm discovering at the same time as you are. So it's very interesting to see how he's constantly coming up with new concepts. God knows what's going to still happen in the meantime and how this whole project is going to evolve. It far more often happens that you go to a studio and are totally disappointed what you see. I mean, the norm is that I met a lady who was unbelievably attractive, and I was really quite mesmerized by her. And then on top of that, she told me she was an artist, so I was even more mesmerized. And her work was so bad, but really so bad, it just killed my whole personal interest in her. I said, I cannot be with somebody producing such mediocre work.
The Baron's trailblazing is always a bit of a gamble, but one that can pay off massively. Will the de Pury effect that worked so well with Damien Hirst make a star of urban artist David Ellis?
Hello, hi, I'm Simon.
Simon, Dave.
Glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
An artist who says his latest work is garbage.
That's fantastic, fabulous. Love it. It's phenomenal, absolutely amazing. So exciting, congratulations. It's brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, I just love this work. I think it is unlike anything I've seen. And there's a playfulness and a humor in it, which I love. So I'm highly inspired by it, and I see a great commercial potential. He's terrific. It was really fascinating.
The big break hasn't happened yet.
Let's give him the big break.
The artist will now enter the de Pury machine. The Phillips office are instructed to try to acquire the wheelie bin. The Swiss savant will wait until just the right moment to break him at auction. It might be weeks, months, even years. Stagehands are feeding the ever-expanding machine, loading in 345 lots from around the world for his next $1 million production. The star lot is a sculpture by a Japanese super artist, Takashi Murakami.
It's a Murakami sculpture called Mr. Pointy, and I don't know what it is.
Are you an art lover yourself, then?
Yeah.
It is in fact a frog with a Buddha standing on it. The artist is renowned for his love of allegory and frequently hints at something grim going on beneath the surface of our image-obsessed society. Multi-hued and many-armed, the high-gloss sculpture is one of just 4. De Pury estimates he can get at least £4 million for it. Understandably, the handlers proceed with great care.
We should have this dead on, yeah?
Yep.
Down you go and you landed. More.
Hang on.
We cracked it.
We've all dropped or trodden on a toy. That cracking noise is never good.
See this crack right here?
Yeah.
That's what that noise was. Yeah. Can you get that out of my face, please? Turn it off.
Could you just talk us through what happened just then?
I'd rather not comment about what just happened then.
Okay.
It's just cracked further out, so I think it's just a...
What time is it?
Coffee time.
Yeah.
Mr. Pointy may be cracked, but he can be fixed. Outside, the economy is beyond repair.
Meltdown on the markets as Wall Street is left reeling from some of the biggest blows in its history.
Britain's big banks under sustained attack on the markets. The credit crunch gets personal.
With ruin on all sides, de Pury goes partying. He's been sole proprietor of his own house for 4 years. But to survive the recession, he needs cash, and he's just got it from a Russian luxury group. They now control the house, but he says it's business as usual.
It is definitely still Phillips de Pury. I will continue in my current role, and I look very much forward to work with our new partners.
He's a rainmaker. I mean, in terms of finding new backers, finding, a princess here, a countess. I mean, it seems like an endless Rolodex of wealthy people interested in keeping that company going.
However, he's also joined forces with another tastemaker, Charles Saatchi. one of the world's greatest collectors of contemporary art. They're now partners in the world's biggest private contemporary art gallery. Entry will be free, courtesy of de Pury, who's guest of honour at the opening party. De Pury works the room, and it is work. With every smile comes an invitation. He's got 345 lots to sell in his next sale, just days away. The auction takes place during a week of big London sales. At both Christie's and Sotheby's, they're feeling the effects of recession, but are weathering the storm. Tonight, all eyes are on Phillips, the fastest growing auction house, but also the smallest and most vulnerable. The maestro scans the room before taking the stand. It's a full house.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phillips de Pury & Company, to this evening's sale of contemporary art, part 1.
Amongst the lots, a work by an old friend.
Damien Hirst, no use crying over spilt milk painting. 160,000, 170,000, 180,000, at 190,000 pounds now. At 220,000 pounds, the bid is on the phone on my left now, 220,000. Sold.
The Baron's on form. The recession isn't biting in here.
More than 280 now.
Or is it? All auctioneers are magicians, conjurers. Only when the hammer comes down with the word sold is the sale a reality. Before that, everything is smoke and mirrors. When Mr. Pointy comes up, the smoke is billowing.
So we continue with the work by Takashi Murakami Tongari-kun, £2,600,000. 2,800,000. £3 million now, at £3 million. At £3 million.
The initial interest appears to be frenzied, but it's just possible there isn't actually any at all. Some auctioneers have been known to take imaginary bids to create a feeding frenzy.
£3,200,000 now.
It's legal, of course, all part of the show. The plan is to get bidders up to and beyond the price at which the seller will part with the work.
Any more than just £3,200,000. One more bid at £3,200,000. Any more than £3,200,000. Any more at £3,200,000 then.
Today, the unthinkable is happening. The room fails to take the Baron's bait, and he's forced to hiss his least favourite word. The word passed means the work has not sold. And this was just the start.
Last chance then, best. Down it goes, best. Any more, best.
7 lots in succession fail to reach their reserve and must go back to the storeroom. In fact, takings for the whole auction are 75% less than had been expected.
Last little effort, best, best. Any more, no more, best, 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 best.
The press described the sale as carnage.
You're losing money if you're not selling everything at a decent price. Staging these things, getting, moving the work, transporting it, insuring it, advertising it. It's a very, very expensive operation.
Listen, it was not great. Everybody sat on their hands. We had some disappointments, several disappointments, with several good works that did not sell tonight. Whatever the circumstances are, the show has to go on.
Perhaps the lots were just too conventional. De Pury's genius has been to make his house the home of all contemporary culture. He trusts that what he wants now, you'll want next.
I get excited by these toys, but I believe these are going to become very important collecting fields in the future. I think you should, for instance, buy a Godzilla. And here's a magnificent example. And, the way this surface is done with this glitter, the shine, that's another great example.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody at Sotheby's going, look at this Godzilla, is there?
I'm sure that in due course you will have Godzilla experts in all the big houses.
Touched by the Baron, these plastic figures become art. He has a kindred spirit and disciple in Steve Agin.
Simon de Pury is really the key. Not only the most brilliantly perceptive individual I've ever met, he's the only one on that level. The term that I've coined to cover all of this, which from its simplicity you would never guess took me a year to devise, is toy art.
Steve's hopes for the embryonic toy art movement rest on his star lot, a gynecological sculpture.
This is the vagina brain monster. The artist sees it as a portal for transportation through time and space. Let's try not to get killed.
The Toy Boys are preparing for a series of high-profile Saturday sales of toy art.
We're waiting on Simone, who's on his way here from Milan. Simone is going to find a new place to shine within. And here we are.
This is it.
This is it.
The art is hidden beneath a cultish store in a trendy New York suburb. Fresh from Renaissance Italy, the Baron races to see the plastic trove.
Watch your head, watch your head. We are here in the bowels of Giant Robot in the East Village, going through their best secreted toys.
Plenty of treasures.
Yes.
Extraordinary, a secret skull brain.
Yes, it was done as a promo for a rock band in Japan.
Amazing.
Would you like to go up and see the shop?
Yes, I'd love to see the shop.
Toy art includes classic manufactured toys and specially created art objects.
I'm very proud of bringing Simon de Pury to a place he hasn't been before that he actually likes. I really do want to establish at least a vein in the toy art that we're showing in the sales that can be branded Simone's picks. So I was hoping that I could get you to pick out that which interested you the most in the store.
These are extraordinary. Killer tomato.
Right.
And killer cabbage. I love the use of vegetables that this artist has done.
They're terrific. They're so brash.
What we're doing here with toy art is exactly the same right across all categories that we are selling at Phillips de Pury. Over the last 5 to 8 years, we have introduced a whole range of truly important artists, some of which in the meantime have really become blue chip artists.
The Saturday toy sales are going to be big, but it's the bankable, big name wet artists that are keeping Phillips competitive. De Pury hits the trail, choppering out of Manhattan and up the Hudson River. Tom Friedman is a one-man art machine. At his Massachusetts art factory, he produces work that's made him world famous, with the help of Simon de Pury. The artist has taken delivery of a gift from a mutual friend.
Damien Hirst sent me this print, and I need some images of butterflies. So I was thinking of taking this out and removing some of the butterflies to use in the piece. I think Damien wouldn't feel bad about that. Okay.
It is not that Tom is just destroying a multi-million-dollar work in front of our eyes. In the contrary, I think he is adding value to these multiple butterflies.
You know, I love his work.
So do I.
It sort of makes sense. It makes sense in a way. I'm sacrificing myself, actually.
It's a very noble gesture.
Thank you.
It's a masterpiece worth thousands, with a handwritten personal dedication.
What I'm going to do is cut in here. Well, the red's an interesting material.
I find it actually very beautiful what we're witnessing here. Damien's genius is going to live on in Tom's genius.
Okay, I'm going to put some hooks on this And then I'll hang these.
You see the butterfly is already flying.
The butterfly goes into Friedman's new project, a sort of aerial collage. Simon can't have this work because a Swedish gallery's already reserved it before it's even finished. The insect takes pride of place amongst old boots and the artist's underpants.
I'll need to make roughly 10,000 objects for this.
With so many found objects still to find for the collage, the artist is regularly producing new pieces himself.
You don't want to ask what that is.
Okay.
Chocolate. Yeah, chocolate.
De Pury knows there's money in this one-man art movement. He recently sold a 0.5mm ball of Friedman's fecal matter for $42,000. But that was before the bottom fell out of the market.
Very interesting. I really would like to roll a perfect ball. It needs to be perfect. Are you okay?
Absolutely. In some instances, there is an astonishment that certain works can fetch such extraordinary sums of money. Even if your son or your daughter of 3 would have been able to do it, there is a real legitimacy behind it, because you cannot help looking at it without being gripped emotionally.
Maybe I could just, have an arrow pointing at it that says actual poo.
De Pury's next stop is in New York's Chinatown, the studio of shock artist Terence Coe, another he's monitored and promoted, taking his sales first to tens of thousands and then to hundreds of thousands.
Oh, Terence. Hi, how are you?
I'm late.
The Baron's Zurich Gallery was the venue for a recent Coe happening. The artist covered it in black vinyl and used it as a stage for stylized sex acts, with men dressed as rabbits.
When you were given carte blanche, if you wish,
Right,
you
yeah.
did something amazing to the gallery, and I was just totally amazed because this was unlike anything I had ever seen.
Thank you for giving me carte blanche. You want to come upstairs and look at the rest of it?
I'd love to,
Yeah,
yes,
go
it would be
upstairs.
great. So that's your most recent work, and you're just currently working on it.
I'm currently working on it, it's great.
Yes, yes. You have not known what it is to be a struggling artist. You have been instantly successful, and that is an even greater challenge than having to struggle to make it, to move on and to remain relevant, and so I'm particularly interested by your work.
Right, thank you.
This isn't just a social call, this is how De Pury's business works. He travels the world making nice and taking tea, massaging relationships.
How amazing!
Yeah. And snapping up art.
How fantastic!
Yeah, I know.
Boxes arrive at the London salesroom, the works of artists who are also friends. The staff are curating the lots for the next multi-million-pound sale of contemporary art. De Pury has secured a Terence Coe. Dr. Michaela Neuermeister is amongst De Pury's most trusted lieutenants.
It's paint, plaster, wax and organic materials.
Organic materials?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know that he even pees on his paintings and uses body liquids and all of that. There's a lot of body liquid on it.
Body liquid?
Don't ask me more. This is free up to your interpretation.
Remarkable. And how much is this one going to go for, did you say?
It's £70,000, 70 to 90.
There's also a Tom Friedman, expected to fetch a big figure, despite being one of the smallest works of art ever seen.
It's £10,000.
£10,000?
And this person will have humor for sure if he or she buys that.
Yes.
The star lot, the objet d'art that will grace the cover of the catalogue, is a vitrine or glass box containing 30 balls. It's by superstar artist Jeff Koons, and De Pury estimates it will fetch around £2 million. On Wall Street, they've wiped 600 points off the Dow Jones already this month. But in Phillips, the specialists are not rattled.
Feeling very
Very relaxed and comfortable, actually. The interest is coming in thick and fast now, which is great.
I think it's extremely crucial timing for the moment to succeed, to have a decent sale. Jeff Koons should sell. I suppose that all these big work are very conservative estimates. So I think that he should be fine.
It is a nerve-wracking situation where you work so hard to get the catalogue together. Fortunately, we have Simon, who's an amazing auctioneer and a brilliant showman.
The day before the sale, the specialists assemble to prepare the order of battle.
Jeff Koons, obviously the most important lot of the sale financially, and I mean clearly an icon and masterwork. So push, try to get the reserves down, try to clinch some sort of payment schedule from the consignor, and listen, just keep dialing for dollars until we get a hit.
For the smallest house, everything now depends on the number of art lovers prepared to come to de Pury's show. And then nature intervenes. London is gripped by blizzards. It may be the wrath of God, but the show must go on.
However well you prepare an auction, you can never really predict how it's going to go. It's like walking on a rope without a net below. You don't know in advance. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Friedman.
The Friedman B is expected to fly away, and it does, for £12,500.
Sold.
Terence Coe's rabbit.
Terence Coe. Go. Get still. 45,000. 50,000. 50,000. 52,000. Any more? Last chance. £52,000.
That's a past. Back to the storeroom for the bunny. Jeff Koons' masterpiece is next. De Pury's set a headline-grabbing estimate of around £2 million.
Jeff Koons will begin this at $1 million, $1 million, $1,100,000, $1,100,000, $1,200,000.
Pounds.
Pounds. At £1,200,000. £1,200,000 any more than £1,200,000. Put on then at £1,200,000.
It's past.
Lot number 33.
The sale begins to fall apart. There are calls from the floor for de Pury to slow down.
Okay, so we go very slowly. We will start this quite soon.
There are problems with the telephones.
You want us to bring another telephone, another blackberry. You want me to lend me mine? I have it just in my pocket.
Then works that have already been rejected return from the storeroom as bargains.
Before we move to the next lot, we are going to reopen the lot number 16, the Jonathan Wiese, 85,000, 90,000, are you bidding 90,000? 100,000, 100,000. Last chance then at £100,000. So,
compared with last year, contemporary art sales have fallen massively at all the houses, a drop of about 90%, as the smallest Phillips must now fight hardest to survive. The Baron goes back to his homeland. In Geneva, the lakeside air is colder and has a marked effect on the 58-year-old. Selling the controlling interest in Phillips hasn't reduced his burden.
For once, I am pessimistic for the short term. One of the key tenors of the world financial markets, he told me, well, short term, it's bad, bad, bad. Mid-term, it's bad, bad, bad. And long term, he said, I guess the world will still move. I love this business, I love this company, and so I will do everything from my angle that I can to help our new majority owners in really making sure that this is a successful investment for them. It does not look easy, to put it mildly.
I suspect Simon's on his knees, but I don't know how strong is the deal with the Russians, and I don't know how strong is the deal with Saatchi, and whether Saatchi is playing his part of the deal. The one thing we do know about Simon is that he fights on when everyone else would give up.
But there is some good news. Sales of toy art have been a small success.
Up 89, Vagina Brain Monster, 900 pounds, 950, 200,000, 2,200 with Tony on the phone. The Vagina Brain Monster selling to Tony for 2,200 pounds. Sold.
The Vagina Brain Monster, a portal allowing travel in time and space, has been snapped up by none other than mega artist Jeff Koons. His stamp of approval is a real coup.
Koons is the most celebrated, wealthy, successful artist in the world. Toy art has arrived. It's now waiting for everybody else.
Greatly encouraged, the head of toy art is at home in rural New Jersey on the internet. Agin is so confident that toy art is going to be a great success that he's ordering new giant genitals from the artist in Venezuela.
Why is the eye on the labia in the vagina?
Maybe he's not blind.
Mm-hmm. You are aware that I refer to all of the work as toy art. Tell us about how you feel about that terminology, that name, toy art.
I think with time, that name will be changed.
Toys will be big, but de Pury knows they're not going to get him through the recession. In Manhattan, the next big contemporary sale is imminent, and it has to be a success.
It's like the football training. As long as your team wins, you are the superhero. Your team just needs to lose twice in a row, and then you're the ultimate villain, and you're being humiliated, and you get flack from everywhere, and it's a highly public thing.
Fortunately for the Baron, one of his musical heroes is in town. Music is a release for him and a distraction from falling sales and counting beans. It's put him in a very good mood.
Eric Lewis plays the piano like no one else I have ever seen play the piano.
What with the violin bow?
Listen, I'm not sure we're going to be very productive right now. Sorry.
That's remarkable.
God, you see, it's very dangerous to interview me as late in the day after a very long day in a sleep-deprived state. That's the closest I ever came to my ultimate childhood dream, to be a great pianist. It's, I tell you, it's a very emotional moment for me. It's incredible. This hour spent with Eric now is one of the most inspiring moments. I mean, this is truly enjoyable, and it's those moments which make it all worthwhile. We wouldn't be anywhere without bean counters, but it's nice to infuse a bit of passion every now and between.
Here, put these on too. This will be cool. You look like a good guy.
So, oh yes, my God, changes everything.
Back to the difficult reality. In his New York home, a trendy downtown boutique hotel, de Pury has his mind on publicity. He has to get the message out to get the punters in.
Ah, very good. Double page, where is highlights of our forthcoming sale. This is one of our star lots, which is a giant cereal box. Now, with these ads, of course, you always wonder, you know, what the impact is at all, because, you know, it appears once, it costs a lot of money, but at the same time, I think it looks okay.
Baron now reaches out to people who may not have been to an auction before. The cash-rich hip-hop posse who listen to DJ Wookid on New York's Sirius Radio. His old friend God assists him at the microphone.
Hey guys. The house, Simon de Pury.
Simon de Pury, that's the way to say
it. So I got a stupid question for you that's very ignorant. What's the most expensive thing that you've auctioned off?
A work by Picasso, done when he was very young, called of his Blue Period. It was estimated between $8 and $10 million, and it sold for $29 million. The person who bought it was Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Wow. I have another ignorant question. Do you have to be educated to love art? Like...
No, you have to believe. You have to step in and say, I'm a believer. God is here. And it's a secret because you don't know.
Luckily, it's not quite as bad as
that. I know, it's scaring me right now.
That's a catalogue of our next auction, which is this Thursday night. And this is a cereal box.
That's crazy,
and if you come to see us, you will see the actual work hanging.
Can I get a couple of these?
I can get you more if you wish, with pleasure.
He's also taking the message in person to his traditional clients, the super rich out in super rich New England.
That looks more like it, you see.
So select is this gathering, so incredibly wealthy and security conscious are the assembled glitterati. We are forbidden entrance. Back at base, the sales team are talking the talk. Rodman Primack is all enthusiasm.
The other thing that I'm really crazy about is this Sol DeWitt wall drawing, which I think for me is probably the most beautiful piece in the sale.
Where is it?
Personally, you can barely see it, of course, on this wall because it's so delicate.
Robin, there's nothing there. Where is it?
You can see it. You have to get, maybe you have to get closer to see
Look
it.
through that, look.
You can't see anything. You buy the ability to make it. You don't buy this wall. This gets destroyed after the auction. Since you can barely see it, I don't know what to say, but it's a very beautiful drawing.
Alex Gilks is a protege of the Barons, an auctioneer in waiting. He knows that all eyes will be on the homely cereal box painstakingly recreated on a massive scale by Robert Gober.
This is the piece in question. This is the headline. This is the centerpiece in terms of all the marketing collateral we've offered for the sale.
And it's on the cover.
It's on the cover of the catalogue. It's on our website. So it's key for the credibility of the house and for our posterity that it does sell tomorrow evening.
There's a lot riding on this 6-foot-tall reference to the cheery domesticity of American family life.
There's something very disturbing about the work, I think, with this Gober. I mean, he's kind of, this little boy, larger than life size, is a little scary.
Having socialised for 3 hours, the Baron has bad news. The rich are saving their pennies.
I love the Farina box by Robert Gober. This is a work of incredible importance. The big question is, in this current climate, will people have the nerves to go and spend in excess of $2 million to buy such a work? And at this reception just now, 1 or 2 people have expressed to me their skepticism whether with that price range in this current climate, one would be able to sell it well.
Despite de Pury's efforts, when the doors open for public viewing of the lots, there aren't a lot of public, though there are some firemen on the way to fix the alarm. Rodman Primack is also alarmed.
Obviously, right now, there's a great deal of pressure on all of the houses to have successful sales.
It really just comes down to this 24-hour period. So there's all this pressure and all this energy to reach this hour-and-a-half sale tomorrow.
When de Pury takes to the stand, gavel in hand, the room is with him. An upended microphone installation by Banks Violetta amplifies excitement amongst bidders.
$35,000 now, $38,000 at $45,000 now. Sold.
To everyone's relief, a gold-plated urinal by Sherry Levine exceeds its estimate by 100%.
$350, yes, $370. Sold.
De Pury is back on form. If anyone can sell the Gerber, he can. He hopes for $3.5 million for the work, almost a quarter of the estimated total for the entire sale.
Farina cereal box. We will begin this at $1,300,000, $1,400,000, $1,600,000.
De Pury surges through the bids. But whether he's nearing the secret reserve price is anyone's guess.
At $1,700,000, you're out, Michael. And we have a bid, Olivier. We are just waiting for the connection that is coming through at $1,700,000 for $1,700,000. I hope you have an extremely good connection. At $1,700,000, Los Janssen at $1,700,000. Passed.
That's another passed. The House of Phillips has been surviving thanks to massive injections of cash from the Baron's Russian backers. 8 months after buying Phillips, their new CEO and his team are highly visible. With the failure of this sale, they'll have to make cutbacks. They leave the job of spokesperson to their auctioneer.
Now we can't be very happy. We just have to work very hard. Maybe right now people didn't fully realize how seminal and how incredibly important this work is.
Last year, Phillips was the fastest growing of the great auction houses. Now, the press tell a different story.
I guess it wasn't helped by the fact that the other work didn't sell.
Start to wonder, can they really survive in this climate? How are they doing it? I mean, they're not making money. Some people have completely written him off.
Yes, he's got Russian money behind him, but the entire art world wonders out loud if Simon and Phillips can survive.
The artist calls his cereal box a domestically nondescript motif. Now it's going back to the nondescript storeroom. Difficult decisions have to be made. The first casualty, the large Saturday toy sales. Toys aren't making enough money. As yet, no one's told the head of toy art.
I don't know what's happening. Biggest single question to me was like, am I still doing this for Phillips? Because these stupid won't tell me. They wouldn't even tell me that they weren't doing Saturday sales anymore. They didn't tell me anything. Literally nothing. They just didn't send me an email.
A year ago, there were plans for a grand toy art event. Toy fan Robin Williams was to be invited from Hollywood. Now, all Steve has left to fight for are his giant genitals. The Baron has more bad news.
Have you been?
Working.
Yes?
Yeah.
Good.
So what can you tell me? I feel like a mushroom growing in the dark.
But we're not going to discuss this.
Oh, okay. This, I was hoping to talk somebody into putting that on the cover of the catalog.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make it to the cover of the catalog. I just see the estimate for the large piece.
Yes.
That's a bit stiff. What we want to avoid is to have a stiff estimate that
fails.
You know, keeps everybody away.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, that's great. So I'll give it some thought, and that's terrific.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Okay. Terrific.
Fine.
All right.
It seemed very perfunctory. Matter of fact, not in depth. Sort of just by the numbers.
In London, the sales machine grinds relentlessly on. Against the backdrop of the worst collapse in the contemporary art market ever seen, de Pury is backing a new cover lot with a cover star. He's personally championed actress Brooke Shields for the front of the catalogue. The artist Richard Prince is another of those talents he's taken to record sales. At the obligatory pre-sale party, they've put out the finger buffet, but hardly anyone has come.
It's a bit quiet.
Yeah, we'll look at that there.
It's a sign of the times. All the houses are suffering.
What time does it start?
I mean, it's already started, really. It's not happening, as you can see.
The Russians and their team don't just outnumber the guests, they are the guests. Finally, de Pury arrives. A year ago, the Baron's parties were the place to be seen. Now, it seems the party might be over.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Phillips and Pury and Company.
But on sale day, the room is full.
Spiritual America number 4, and we will start this at 200,000, 220,000, at 280,000.
A year ago, cover lots had estimates in the millions. Brooke can't shield the Baron from the new reality. The image of her starts at 200,000.
280 at 280,000 pounds.
And she doesn't even make that. In his London home, Claridge's, the world's greatest auctioneer is alone with his favourite music and his thoughts.
This is possibly one of the most moving songs ever, because it's about time, about the passing of time, and about everything going and disappearing, including love, including life itself. Don't believe that I'm not affected by things that go difficult, that are tough. I don't show it, but it doesn't mean that I can't be affected by it. My way of dealing with my extreme sensitivity is to build, in a way, in French you call this une carapace, which is like a crocodile skin. And that's why you can remain unfazed, even if it looks as outside events might work against you.
De Pury is still the star auctioneer, still the chairman of Phillips. But with the new owners at the helm, he's ready to broaden his horizons and look beyond the podium for inspiration.
Many people find it very difficult to change in their life because their identity is so aligned with the companies they work for. My identity is not linked to that. I could just as easily do something very different. We never know when it is the end for any of us, and so we should consider every day that we live like maybe our last day, or every sale that you do maybe as our last sale, maybe every game that you play as our last game, and put that kind of attitude and energy into it.
De Pury has accepted a top secret offer, one that takes him out of London. At Phillips, the owners unveil a bold strategy for survival. 18 new themed sales. An auction without the Baron is still an event, but it lacks a certain something.
Welcome back to Phillips and Pury and Company's now. Open up the floor to bidding at 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 now. For 1,200 with me. 13, 14 against you, Fiona. 14 against you with me at 14. 15, it's your bid, Fiona. I can sell this off at 15. Sold 15.
De Pury's not present because he's found another stage on which to perform, across the Atlantic. Reality TV. The De Pury show launch has yet to be announced. It's still top secret. Nobody is allowed to know what it's about or who's in it. But the Baron gives us a sneak insight.
Today I'm taking part in a reality TV show. Yes, it is probably a dream. I always felt that art would lend itself very well for a reality TV show.
His auction house isn't really his anymore, and maybe this is much more interesting to him. The potential audience of this is much bigger, and maybe that's, you know, maybe that's all he needs to hear.
For me personally, it's very exciting. I love taking part in it. It's something I've never done. It's a different thing, and I'm always game for experiencing new things, and that is what excites me. And yes, I'm loving it.
De Pury's dreams are coming true, and over at the Phillips Latin-themed sale, so are Steve Egan's. His giant genitals have made it all the way from Venezuela.
So how does it feel to have got it all this way?
Like an accomplishment. A year ago, it was introduced to this world, and now it rules this world.
It may not be the star lot. In fact, it's amongst the last lots. But the vagina brain monster is in the spotlight for all to see. De Pury's been away. The reality of reality TV is that they want you 24/7. But the auctioneer, temporarily turned TV star, returns as auctioneer again. However, he has brought his reality TV crew with him. Now he's not just playing to the room, he's playing to the world.
1500, 1600, 1700, 1800, 1900.
Finally, the vagina is available. Steve's been warned not to expect a big figure, but the Baron is on fire.
Magical vagina. Sure, you have all admired her. We will begin this at $5,000. 5,500, 6,000, and 500, 7,000, and 500, 8,000, and $8,000, 8,500, $9,000, $10,000, at $10,000, $11,000, $12,000. Last chance in at $12,000. So,
Steve had hoped the sculpture would fetch more, but it's a start. His friend has done him and toy art proud.
Congratulations, you did a great job.
Yes.
Really a great job.
I'm very happy.
Yes.
It was a great first experiment.
I think so.
It's a small success against the background of the most disastrous fall in the history of the contemporary art market. The house of Phillips de Pury has seen the best and the worst of times.
The man's metal has been tested. Most people would have lain on the ground and not got up again. If anything, the resilience of Simon de Pury would suggest that he probably will survive this.
It's Phillips, de Pury and company. I don't think you can take the de Pury out of Phillips. He's a bit like a prize fighter. It doesn't seem that, Simone is ready to, throw in the towel.
Now, when will the sun start shining again? None of us really know. I'm optimistic by nature. So in my view, I think the art market is going to pick up quite quickly. You must never forget that the sun is going to come back. And of course, the sun is going to come back at some stage.
There are signs that the market is picking up again. The party about to restart. When it does, the auctioneer, TV star, and now DJ will be ready.
Ready for action.
I'm ready for action.